Madhukar Ladha, Vice President with Elara Capital, joins us, and along with him, Digant Haria, co-founder of GreenEdge Wealth. LIC, that's what we would discuss. We've had a round of discussions on the Twitter Spaces last week, where we spoke about how LIC in a sense is not priced to perfection, and this time around there's money to be made in a government offering as it's been priced reasonably. Digant, I look at the grey market premium, and these are not benchmarks, these are indicative returns. The LIC issue, I've been told, is trading at a premium. So looks like what we were discussing last week, markets are pretty much realizing it, that LIC is an issue where there is money to be made in the short term, medium term, long term.
True. I think for the retail and policyholders, there is a good 5 to 8% extra to be made here. I think such excitement is fine. It had to be built, and then when the government is hell bent on pushing, its largest company in its table, I think it's fine. There could be some listing pop, but yes, as we have discussed a lot of times, that LIC is a giant. Not so much used to working with what the public market investors want. So I think yes, while there is excitement, some listing pop can create more excitement, but yeah, we have to be rational in the sense that it's a large company, and to make genuinely big profits out of this, it will take time. So yeah, that's the initial comments.
Okay. Given the market conditions, again, there is going to be a scarcity premium, because LIC issue is a reasonable issue. It is not like a mammoth issue. When I say mammoth, I'm comparing it with, let's say, in Paytm and LIC. Paytm was oversubscribed with valuations which nobody could really comprehend. LIC is a completely different beast, a brand, a profitable company, and reasonably priced. So that is the reason why I'm saying that the issue is not very large. So given that there is going to be a scarcity premium, what to your mind should be the next 6 to 12 month range for LIC to settle in? Because a lot of things would also be discovered, accounting policy, disclosures. Where do you think Digant LIC ultimately would settle, let's say 3 to 6 months after listing?
So I just think that it's a difficult question, that where exactly does it settle, because of various reasons. But yeah, if you were to put a gun to my head and say that I have to still put a range, I think somewhere between plus 0 to 20% upside is what I am looking at in terms of this stock. The reason for this is that let's see, the government is just selling 3% stake in this, so there will be more to come, and as 1 year period goes away, that fear will also start building in the stock. And in the meanwhile, there have been a lot of issues which the institutional investors or the analyst community have been raising, that just before the IPO, LIC has been sort of demutualized, and the EV, the embedded value, went up from say 20,000 crores to roughly 5 lakh crores, and the VNB margins also went up just before the IPO. So while I don't think these are really big concerns right now, because LIC was governed in a very different way before the IPO, and now after the IPO, its profits and everything will be governed in a very different way. So I'm not too concerned about that, but it's just that these are things which are too new, and the market will take 3, 6, 9 months to digest that. Secondly, what LIC has in its favor is that the economy is opening up. Insurance policies need that physical person to go and sell the policies. So next 6 to 12 months could actually be good for the sector as a whole. So I just think that the gains which we'll see from the IPO, like those gains could probably remain, and we will not see a fiasco like we've seen in a lot of government listings in the past decade. So yeah, that's it. Like, I would be really calibrated that pricing is okay. There is excitement, there is hope. But yeah, let's see LIC deliver over the next 3, 6, 9 months.
So let's ask Madhukar Ladha the same question. What's your take? Stay with subscribe for the IPO pop only, or stay invested as a long-term bet? LIC is of of course, if you look at the embedded value, it's at a discount when you look at the private insurance companies.
Sure. Good morning. So, I think uh, I don't really expect a very large pop or very large listing gains because, as I've said earlier, I think LIC is fairly priced. Um, Also, so the retailers and the policyholders obviously get that discount, and for them there is some money on the table. But I would not expect a very large sort of listing gain over here. Uh, See, if there was very high demand for the issue, then the pricing could have been higher, or even the government could have offered a lot more of this paper. I think the issue size getting scaled back also says something. And It's not a small issue. So at almost close to 21,000 crores, it's not a small issue at all. And lastly, supply will always be coming. So over the next 3 odd years, if the government needs to meet the listing norms of at least 25% public shareholding, then there is a lot of selling which will come after 1 year. I'm not sure whether institutions would be buying the stock at very high prices. And finally, a lot of these things which actually Digant actually spoke about earlier, we need to get some track record in terms of, EV movement, clarity over BNB. Some of these things will come through over the next year, and then we can take a more informed call. Yeah.
Digant Haria, the fact is, if you look at the embedded value, 1:1, it is at a significant discount as far as the private insurance companies go. What's going to be the impact, you think, on the rest of the space?
See, the rest of the space has been consolidating for a fairly long period of time because of two reasons. One is that because of COVID, they had slightly higher claims than their usual trajectory, and second is that the growth has been pretty subdued because, as we have discussed in the past, nobody wakes up in the morning to buy insurance. Insurance has to be sold. India is still a country where insurance needs to be sold. So I think both the factors are now coming to an end in some ways, that the physical economy is opening, people can meet, people can discuss business and sell insurance. And second is the claims will also not be so high as we've seen in the COVID years. So I think the sector as a whole looks good to me for the next maybe 12 months. But the joker in the pack here is what LIC does in the new age insurance products, because LIC has typically not been very aggressive in the non-participating products like ULIP or credit-linked insurance or personal protection. So if LIC decides to get aggressive, I think then over the longer term, the private insurance companies, see, these are the most profitable products of private insurance companies, and their valuations are very high versus an LIC because their margins are high because of these products. So if LIC decides to enter these products, I think there could be some competition. See, in the past, we have seen that government companies can never really disrupt the private market very fast because they are slow to respond. So LIC's launched their first ULIP plans in October 20. It's still not like really picked up in the way that an LIC machinery can really push that product. So I think LIC has to train its 13 lakh agents, and it will be a slow change. So I think the private insurance companies next 1 year looks good. And if LIC in the next 1 year, tells us, as an investor, as an analyst community, and as Madhukar was saying, that next 12 months we'll see a lot more interaction from LIC. I think we can take a call then that if LIC becomes aggressive, then private sector long term.
Digant, Madhukar, really appreciate your time. Thank you for that wonderful take on LIC. We'll be discussing with you both, perhaps more and more updates when LIC, as it, when we go close to the closing date. But for